Years ago, I'm in the camper van telling a story. Years ago, Daddy used to have a little bike. It was a little red bike, and it wasn't my first bike. My first bike was kind of yellowy orange coloured, but my second bike was red, and it had white saddle and had white handlebar grips, and it was the best bike ever, lads. It was so cool, Eppie, right? And I used to love it. And I had a carrier. It was like the bikes that were up in the outside the campsite. You know them bikes? Really lovely. And I got it when I was in about 5th or 6th class. I remember buying it. But I used to always go cycling, lads. And I used to go cycling some days. And I'd always go cycling on the back roads. And I used to go cycling down to Glascarraig. It's down near where we just live at home. And down near there's rocks. Right, Eppie? But there's also lovely seas down there. And down in the sea, it'd always be stones. And it'd always be really rough. And there was always rocks out in the sea. One day I went down and I heard this kind of noise. Kind of like, yeah, like a girl crying, right?
A girl crying?
Yeah. And I went down and I heard a girl crying. I looked around and I couldn't see anything. And I looked out on the rocks, and out on the rocks, here was what looked like a seal, right? And I don't know what it was. I was like, that can't be a seal out there crying. And it was crying like a girl though, right? And next it turned sideways and it actually looked like a girl. I said, jeez, what's that? Must be a girl in trouble. And I went out, and as I got close to her, I could see a lovely girl with long hair, right? And she started to scream at me. And she was kind of like hissing. And I said, no, I'm here to help you, it's okay. And then I said, maybe she can't understand me because she could be German or French, she could be on holidays, right? And I'd noticed that there was a fishing boat nearby, and all the fishing nets and all the wires in the net, like your invisible thread on your tie, it caught all around this girl's legs, and she was all caught up in it. And I walked closer to her, and as soon as I walked closer, she screamed more and more. And then I noticed, Eppie, do you know what I noticed?
No.
I noticed that she didn't have any legs.
No.
She had no legs. And you know, she had a fishy tail. A long tail like a fish with big scales on it. And she started screaming more and tried to run away from me. And I said, no, stop. And she screamed more and more. And I said, don't scream, it's okay. Now I should have been afraid of her, but I wasn't, right? And she tried to run, but she got caught. And I said, listen.
The tail.
Yeah, it was a tail like a mermaid. It was a mermaid.
Like Ariel.
Yeah, like Ariel. And I said, listen, it's okay, you're okay. I said, stop, don't run, you're going to hurt yourself. And she looked at me, she started to cry. And she goes, please don't hurt me. And I said, I won't hurt you. And says, you will hurt me. I said, no, I won't. She said, no, you will. I said, I won't, I promise. I said, do you promise? And I promise I won't. I said, I'll help you. I said, I want to go away, I want to go back in the water. I said, I'll help you get back in the water. And I had a little small penknife with me. You know my little penknives? And I said, listen, I'll cut all these ropes away from you and you can go back in the water, right? So he said, are you sure you won't hurt me? And I said, I promise I won't. And I said, what's your name? And you know what she said her name was? Grania.
What?
Grania. And I said, my name is Mick. And she goes, hi Mick. And I said, how old are you, Grania? And she goes, I am 12. And I said, hi, I'm 12 as well, Grania. I said, we're the same age. I said, yeah. And I said, listen, I better let you go. So my mammy and daddy should be worried about me. Right? And I went up, and all her legs, where her legs were all fishes, with, you know, like all slimy with fish and stuff. And she had a big gorgeous fish's tail, and she had lovely arms, and she had lovely, the scale, not like a fish's scales, but all up her belly. And she had lovely long curly red hair. And I cut the ropes with a cut around her fish's tail off her, cut them off with my knife, and took a while. And you know what she did? She touched my hair and she goes, "Your hair is nice." And I said, "Yeah." And I touched her hair, and her hair was lovely and soft and red hair, right? And I said, "You're free now."
We have glass hair.
Did she?
Yeah, we do.
Did she?
Yeah.
Well, I said, "Listen, you're free now, you can go." And she goes, "Thank you." And I said, "Listen, are you hungry?" And she goes, "I am." And I said, "I've got some food." And she goes, "I can't eat your food." And she goes, "Listen." I said, "I'll go back to my bike." And she goes, "Don't be long." I said, "I won't." And I went back to my bike, and I had a little pack of chocolate, little bar of chocolate, right? And I broke off some chocolate. And she goes, "What's this?" And I goes, "Don't worry, it won't hurt you. It's chocolate. It won't harm you." And she bit it, and she goes, "Oh, that's lovely." And I said, "It's nice, isn't it?" She goes, "Yeah." And she goes, "Listen, I better go." And I said, "Here's some more. Bring some chocolate with you." And she got the chocolate, and the wave came in and splashed up all over her. And next minute she was back in the water. And she says to me, "Get off the rocks quick, because the sea will hurt you, it'll wash you away." I said, "Okay, no bother." And says, "Thanks a million, Mick." And I said, "Thanks, Grania." And I said, "I'll see you. Can I see you again?" And she goes, "Yeah, come down again and I'll see you again." And I said, "I'll have to be able to sneak away from my mammy and daddy, because they'll be wanting to know where I am." And I said, "Don't worry, I won't hurt you." I says, "If you're coming again, bring some chocolate." And I said, "I will." So, do you want to hear the rest of the story? I'm making it up. And all that summer, do you know what I used to do? I used to go off my bike, and I used to get a few pence, and I'd go to the shop, and I'd go down to Glascarraig, and I'd go down and I'd look out to sea, and next minute I'd see a big flippy tail coming up in the air, and I knew it was Grania, and I'd see her red hair, and she'd swim up to the rocks, right? And I used to go down to her, and I used to bring her bits of chocolate, and we used to have great crack talking. And do you know what she used to do as well, Eppie?
No.
She used to love to sing songs. She was a lovely singer of songs. She knew loads and loads of lovely songs. And one day I went down towards the end of summer, and I waited, and there was no sign of her. And I came back the next day, and I waited, and I came back the next day, and I waited, and she was gone. And I walked down to where I'd freed her, and there was a stone, and on the stone was, she'd wrote on the stone, she'd scraped into the rock, "Mick, my mammy and daddy had to move on to a new place, and I had to go with them. I'm really sorry, but hopefully I will see you again. Love, Grania." And if you go down to the rocks down in Glascarraig, you'll see that scraped onto the rocks still her message she left for me. And do you know what? I never ever saw her ever again. I never ever saw her again. And that's the true story. Do you like that one, Eppie? Will I bring you down someday to see the rock?
What?
Will I bring you down to someday to see it? It'd be nice to see you.